Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make an Outback Steakhouse restaurant in Minecraft, step by step, block by block, including the interior for all of your city building needs. Here are 3 different vehicles that I would suggest adding to this build to enhance it. I will leave a link down below in the description for the video that will show you how to make all of those. By the way, I was hidden somewhere in the intro of this video. This does not count. If you spotted me, leave a comment down below. The first person to find me will have their comment pinned. Also, did you spot the super secret sign? If you did, what did it say? This is the amount of space required to make the build. I would recommend copying this grid into your world and, if you do, to find the starting position, begin at the front left hand corner of your grid, count backwards, find the 12th block, and then count to the right, find the 4th block. That is where we start. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 7 spruce planks in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then place a stone brick in front. Then place 7 birch planks on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then extend to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Extend almost all the way down to the ground, but join down to the ground with a stone brick. Then place a spruce plank behind this. Extend to the right by 2. 1, 2. Then extend backwards by 1. Place a red terracotta to the right. And extend up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then extend right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend all the way down to the ground. Then extend that same block backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then extend all the way down to the ground. Place a spruce plank to the right. Place a stone brick in front. Place 7 birch planks on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then extend to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then extend all the way down to the ground, or almost to the ground, and then join down using a stone brick. Then place a spruce plank behind the stone brick. Place a red terracotta to the right. Extend up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then extend to the right by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Extend all the way down to the ground, just like so. Then we are just going to come all the way back over to here and extend this stone brick to the right by 1, forwards 1, place a dark oak door here, and then 3 stone bricks, 1, 2, 3, extending right, then extend backwards by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then extend inwards. So we don't actually have anything to connect to, but maybe it's a good idea to fill this red terracotta area in using red terracotta like this so that we actually join to something. And we can make a lot of this area now, since we're here. So, to start, we will place a black stained glass pane here in this position. We will then place 2 rows of birch planks extending up and around on top of the stone bricks, so just boxing in the door and the window that we have at the front. Then we are just going to move over to the left here, since we're here. To fill this area in, we start by placing a row of 1, 2, 3 polished black stone wall against this wall. We will then add 2 rows of black stained glass pane extending right of the wall, and then another layer of polished black stone wall against the glass, 2 more rows of black stained glass pane extending to the right, and then finally a row of polished black stone wall to connect to the opposite side. Then we can just fill this above area in using birch planks. And that is looking pretty good. Now, continuing on, we are going to move all the way around to the back of the build, which is where we should have went immediately instead of taking a detour. My bad. And we are going to extend this red terracotta to the right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all the way down to the ground. Extend left 1, oak door, and then we can just fill this small bit of wall in using red terracotta. Just like this. We will then place a spruce plank in this position and extend all the way across to the right. The goal is to line up with the front of the build. Once you have accomplished this, we will extend up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all the way back on ourselves. And we will join all the way down to here. And then we can just fill this entire area in using spruce planks. We can add some windows to this area a little bit later, but that's a decision we will make when we are making the interior. Now that we have done this, we are going to move on to the final side of the build, where we will first of all extend this spruce plank all the way forwards, and we can join down to where we first started, just like this. We will then place a red terracotta in this position and extend up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all the way down. We will then add an extra layer of red terracotta underneath the top, and then we will fill this section in with black stained glass. Then, just moving inside of the build because it's a bit easier, we are going to fill this entire wall in using spruce planks. We also just want to cover up the red terracotta as well, which is why we moved inside, and then we can just completely fill the rest of this massive empty space in with the spruce. And that will give us this. Now that we have made the general structure of the building, we can focus on the details, starting at the front. Begin by placing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 black stained glass pane along this wall. Add another row of glass on top, and then box this wall in using spruce planks. Extend above and around the window, and then connect to the left, just like this. Then, when it comes to the main entrance area, we will place an additional stone brick here and here on both sides. Add birch planks extending all the way up to the top of the build like this. We will then place a row of 3, 1, 2, 3, polished black stone wall here, and 1, 2, 3, polished black stone wall here. We will then place black stained glass pane extending inwards along both of the rows of the wall. We will then fill this area above the wall / glass in using birch planks, just like this. And then we just have to move inside a second, and we can add a layer of spruce planks above and around the outside of our door frame, just to give the wall something to grip onto, like that. Then We are going to move to the right ever so slightly, where we will place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spruce planks extending up. And we will do this on top of each one of those planks, just like this. We then want to add an additional row of red terracotta underneath this row here, and this row here. And then we can fill these empty spaces in with black stained glass, just like this. Then we are going to place a row of dark oak slabs above and around the windows, extending from this side to this side. And we can start adding some dark oak slabs along the top of the walls as well. So it's pretty much all the way along the outside of the restaurant, but we do just want to focus on the front for now. And the dark oak slab also just extends one row forwards, like this, across the top of the entrance. We also want to add a stone brick, leaving a gap of 2 from this position. So 1, 2, we place a stone brick here, and then we move over to here, where we place another stone brick, and then we move over to here, where we place another, so you can see where those are positioned. And then on top of those, we will stick 2 stripped spruce wood, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we will place dark oak slabs above and around the outside here. I am thinking that we place it like this, so it overhangs the front, but not the sides, I feel. So we will do this, and we'll just fill this section in. And this will just make an overhang above the main entrance, which looks pretty good. We also want to add a standing sign just right of this stone brick here. So we will place 1, 2 flipped up dark oak trapdoors here, and 1, 2 just next to them. And we will stick 1 just connecting them across the top. We will also place a lantern here and here, like so. And we will make a bench in front of this window by placing a spruce trapdoor here and here. Flip them up and then join them together across the top, just like this. And whilst we are just in this area, we are going to add some leaves just around this window. So I don't know whether to kind of like leave the glass of the window open and maybe you can place some ferns here later, or whether to connect it across the bottom. I'm more so leaning towards adding something there a little bit later, but we can focus on that in a bit. We do just want to make our way back to the main entrance now, where we will place a row of birch shelves just above the door frame here. You can see how that lines up, and that is for the sign later. We are also going to extend the birch planks back that we have for the entrance area like this. So we want to extend them back about 2 rows like so, and then we will extend the dark oak slabs backwards as well. So they want to overhang the back of where the birch planks are, and that will be right about here. So it just makes it look a little bit more 3D. I think that certainly is an improvement. We also want to add a polished black stone button here and here, just like this. Then we want to add oak leaves, leaving a gap of 1 from this window. We place oak leaves here, and equally so here as well, just like this. Then we want to move up to, as a matter of fact, we also want to have a row of birch shelves here. So you guys can see the position for this. It's hard to describe it otherwise. 1 row above the actual windows, and then it's basically just from the length of the glass to the glass. And then we can hop up here. And we want to extend the top 3 rows of birch planks for this sign area here. We extend those 1 row backwards. And then we place dark oak slabs on top of the birch planks, just like this. Then we are going to fill this roof in here. So the roof is made just using dark oak slabs, and they just overhang this entire little building here. For reference, this is kind of like both an employee entrance and also kind of like a little stock room / storage room. So there we go. I did contemplate hanging a sign here as well, which I can't spell, can I? I was thinking like employee only or employees only or something like that. Or you could just not bother signing it. That is also a solid option. Well, now that we have done that, we are going to move around to the back of the build now. First of all, we are going to add a bin, which is all the way over here next to the red terracotta. We will place 2 green terracotta with flipped up or down oak trapdoors on top. Then a flower pot here. We will then leave a gap of 3 from the bin. So 1, 2, 3. Place an iron bar. And then a gap of 1, 2, 3. Iron bar. 1, 2, 3. Iron bar. And then that's it. We can't place any more. Then we are going to leave a gap of 2 from the edge of the building here. So 1, 2. And then we will place a yellow carpet. We will then extend left 2. 1, 2. Gap. Then place 3 carpet, 1, 2, 3, gap, 3 carpet, 1, 2, 3, gap, 3 carpet, 1, 2, 3. Just like this. Then, I think that the easiest thing to do would be to just remove all of the grass from the back of the builds. So, there is just one caveat to this, and we do not want to remove the grass from right behind this area here. As a matter of fact, we need an additional grass in this position, and the only reason is so that we can add large ferns just behind that building. But then we can pretty much just remove all of the remaining grass and grid from the back of the build. And maybe, I don't want to jump the gun on this, but maybe the left side of the build as well. I think that we will do just that whilst we're here. The rest of the sides of the build are a little bit more complicated, so I don't want to go ahead and start messing about there until we're ready. But I am just going to extend all the way to the front of the build like this, and remove all the way, probably all the way up until just here. I'll just stop here. And yeah, I think we'll leave this alone. We'll place something there later. The side of the build we can definitely just fill in with smooth stone. So this is just going to be a path that leads all the way to the very back of the build. And we can continue that path along to here. We then want to divide the yellow carpet areas up by placing rows of white concrete in between them and extending the white concrete all the way to the end here. We can then fill the middle of these areas in using cyan terracotta, and these are basically just employee car parking spaces, just like this. Then directly to the left, we are going to place 2 rows of smooth stone, 1 row here along the bottom, and then 2 rows here across the top. And we will just fill to the ferns. We will then fill this area in with andesite, and this is where the box truck or freezer truck can go, that we will be adding a little bit later. Then we can remove and replace all of this grass with smooth stone. The iron bars are bike racks, by the way, so we will be adding bikes here later as well, maybe even a motorbike if we see fit. And that is looking pretty good. Now, before I do forget about it, let us just head all the way over to here. And why don't we just add a bit of podzol and ferns, my favourite combination, you guys know what it is, just to that area there. And I do think that that just looks a little bit better. Next, we can hop all the way back over onto the opposite side of the build, where we can start removing some of the grass, but we have to be a tad more careful. So, for instance, we can remove from here we can dig forwards and around this bush, just like so. And we can start digging towards the front of the build, and then we can just dig all the way across, just like this, and connect to this path. We can also dig and remove underneath this bench, and we can remove the blocks all the way into the entrance. But now, I think it's just a good idea to fill this in with smooth stone, just to kind of create a barrier or a boundary, because we don't want to remove any of the grass from around the leaves. Just like this. And then let's just head all the way back over to here. So then we can kind of just remove from here across here, and then we can just start digging back towards the storage room. And underneath these windows here, I'm not sure what to place underneath the windows. I don't know whether to go for just like smooth stone so that it kind of like blends into the path here, or whether to use the actual floor material. I think we'll start with that and then we'll just see a little bit later on. But we then just want to add a row of smooth stone here in front of this building, just like so. And then we can start placing podzol along the right side of the build. And we can just place it all the way to here. And how far does it want to go? Well, the podzol wants to be dug until it just sits 2 rows in front of the stone here. So that's how far the podzol actually has to go. So we can even... Okay, so then we can just fill all the rest of this area in with smooth stone. I was about to go on like a massive tangent before completing this area, but I think that it's best that we just add our smooth stone in here, and then we can start doing this. Okay, so now we can start digging left of this podzol, and we can basically just remove one entire row of grass and the grid at the end. Then we can start placing podzol in this hole. So we can place podzol from here all the way to this position, just in between this pillar and this sign. Then we place smooth stone, coinciding from that polished black stone wall to that polished black stone wall. We then place podzol all the way to the right, and then at the end we want to place 2 smooth stone, just like this. We are then able to remove all of the grass from behind the podzol and behind the path, and we're just going to carefully just dig around everything that we have made. And all the way around here, and then we can just fill all of this in with the smooth stone. Then we can actually just remove all of the remaining grass and grid from in front of the build. Then, at the very end here, we will place a row of stone, just like this, from the podzol to the edge of the grid. We will then place a row of stone here, and here, and here, and here. We will then fill this area in with smooth stone, just like so. Then we can fill this area in with smooth stone as well. And then the 2 remaining large areas are basically just going to be car parking spaces. So the way these are split up, it's the usual sort of deal. It's 3 terracotta, 1, 2, 3 cyan terracotta, then a white concrete. So 3 terracotta, white concrete, 3 terracotta. And then we extend each one of those blocks all the way to the very end here. And we stick the yellow carpet just at the top of the spacers, and we do the same thing on the opposite side. Actually, my bad. On this side, it's a little bit different. We place a white concrete, then the freestyle terracotta, then white concrete, freestyle terracotta, white concrete, just like this. And then we extend them forwards. And we place yellow carpet at the top. And that is perfect. This is shaping up nicely. So next we are going to place ferns in the podzol every other block. If you want to use a different plant other than ferns, I don't know why you would do that because ferns are the perfect plant, but do feel free to chuck something else in there if you do so choose. And there we go. Look at that. Next, we are going to fill the roof in. To begin, we are just going to connect this spruce plank here all the way backwards, just like so. Then we will add a row of dark oak slabs on top of the red terracotta that we have at the back of the build. And we will then fill this section in with dark oak slabs, just like so, extending all the way from the back to the front. And then that just leaves this area, so we can just start off by adding a layer of dark oak slabs all the way along the top of our spruce planks. And then we can just simply fill it all in. With the roof filled in, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing left to do outside, and that is make the dreaded sign. Throw down a limb, open it up, place a red banner in there with white dye. We simply have to write out the words Outback Steakhouse in banners. So the first letter we have to make is O. This is the Pale Dexter pattern, Pale Sinister, Chief, and then Base. Next is U, which is the Pale Dexter, Pale Sinister, and then Base pattern. Next is T, which is the Chief, and then Pale pattern. Next is B, this is Pale Sinister, Pale Dexter, Chief, Fess, and Base. Next is A, this is Pale Dexter, Pale Sinister, Chief, and then Fess. Next is C, this is Pale Dexter, Chief, and then Base. Next is K, this is Pale Dexter, Bend, and Bend Sinister. Then we have to make S, which is Chief, Base, Bend. I'm just going to stick that there. Then we have to make E, which is Chief, Fess, Base, and Pale Dexter. Then we have to make H, which is Pale Dexter, Pale Sinister, and then Fess. And then that's actually it. Oh, although I do just want to make one final banner. I have no idea why I want to make this, but I kind of just want to have the thing banner pattern here, and I just want to place it on this sign. I literally have no idea why. I don't know what's possessed me to do this, but that's what we're going with. Anyway, we can now start placing our banners. We are going to write the word Outback starting here. O-U-T-B-A-C-K. And we're just going to pop onto this side of the build as well and do the same. So O-U-T-B-A-C-K. And then we will write Steakhouse in the shelves. And the way that we'll do it is we will place the S starting here. Then T-E-A-K. Then I'm just going to grab the H and rearrange the banners just so that it's a little bit easier. So we'll then leave a gap of 1, and then we can have H-O-U-S-E. And as you can see, that's centered perfectly underneath the Outback. And we want to do the exact same thing over here as well. So we start the S here. T-E-A-K space H-O-U-S-E. And that is perfect, ladies and gentlemen. And once you've made those signs, with the outside of the build almost complete, we do have to add the vehicles later, we can now head inside and begin work on the interior. To begin, head all the way over to the back right-hand side of the build. We want to start by placing 4 spruce planks left of this red terracotta. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a dark oak door. 11 more planks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then a dark oak door. And then 4 spruce planks. We then want to extend our spruce planks all the way up to the ceiling, extending across the top of the doors as well. And then, on this right side in particular, we can leave a gap of 1 and remove a block here. We can then leave a gap of 1 and then place a row of stripped spruce wood extending all the way up to the ceiling, like so. We can then place a row of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stripped spruce extending along the bottom here. And then we can extend this 6th block all the way up to the top, just like so. We can extend the bottom blocks in the corners forwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can extend the other side forwards as well, but ultimately we want to connect them together in the middle, so you can just extend across and then back, just like that. Then it's actually probably a good idea to remove all of the grass from... I was going to say from the entire of the inside of the build, but how about this? We'll just start with this front part. So let's remove all of this grass. And from underneath the windows as well. So we already placed some smooth stone underneath there. And we have to remove underneath there, and we have already done that side. We do have to decide what we're going to do here. So, like, do we place red underneath these windows and these windows to kind of, like, blend the colour palette together? In which case, what do we do here? Do we place black underneath these, as we have used black for the frames? It's not a horrible idea. Whilst we are on this side as well, we are just going to add some spruce planks just around the bay here, just like so. And then we are just going to fill the entire floor section in using oak planks. I am minorly considering using a different material for behind the bar. That's why I haven't removed the grass yet. I don't know whether to contrast it or whether just to have everything nice and homogeneous with the oak planks. I'm starting to think that I might just use oak planks. I was going to be fancy and use something else, but I think ultimately it will just look better if everything is the same. So we'll stick with that. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I don't know. I don't know why I'm filling the floor in like this. It's a little unhinged, but you know what? It's working well. Okay, so let's just hop behind the bar and remove all of this, and yeah, we're just going to go with the oak planks, why not? I think it will look better in the end. Before we move on to anything else, we should really take care of the ceiling. So, first of all, I'm just going to remove this row of spruce planks that we have here, and we are going to replace them with dark oak planks. And we are then going to extend those dark oak planks across the remaining ceiling, and this will form the actual ceiling. I'm using the word ceiling far too much, but we need to do this so that we can start working on the other details, because it's actually important for us to even just start making the bar section. Perfect. And whilst we are just kind of nipping these sorts of things, I think that it's a good idea to add some spruce just all the way around this wall here. I don't think that there's anything we can do about this. Like, we can just shave that row off there, but I'm not sure that that is even preferable. I think maybe we will just keep that. I am wondering whether to kind of like add like a double row of spruce against this wall, but I think that that's something that I will actually decide a little bit later. So instead, I am going to turn my attention to the bar area. So for the bar, we want to add 2 spruce shelves, 1, 2 here, and 1, 2 there, with a row of spruce trapdoors underneath. And then we want to add a couple of paintings just in between. We want to... That's not what I wanted to do. I hate when that happens. We want to stock these shelves with various potions. I'm just going with like the browny, greeny spectrum of colours, but you can kind of just go with whatever you like. I'm then going to place a brewing stand here, here, and here, just down below, with a lever here and a flower pot here. And I'm thinking that maybe we have like item frames behind the brewing stands like this, and we can just fill these in with our various potions that we have. I also want to stack a flower pot, some sea pickles, and some green candles on the shelf up here, just because I think that it looks a little bit better. I just realised that I am dumb. We have to remove the left and right side of the bar here, and just move the rows of stripped spruce inwards by 1, like so. And then we just have to remove and replace the dirt here with oak planks, and that is how the bar is actually supposed to look. My bad. Then we can kind of litter the bar with different items like our pot, our sea pickles, maybe like an item frame, maybe some green candles or a green candle. Something like this looks pretty good. I was also considering, just so that I can get rid of them really, to stock. Oh. You can just right-click these. And like fill them. I did not know that you could do that. I thought that you had to like literally like open the brewing stand. Huh. How about that? Well, anyway, I think stocking the brewing stands with different potions looks pretty good too. You learn something new every day. Next, we will add a till area behind the bar by placing 1, 2 black concrete like this, and then an iron trapdoor here. Item frame here, polished black stone stair here. Then we can add some seats to the bar by placing a spruce stair here, 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 and here, just like this. Now let's make all of the booths. There are quite a few of them. One is right in front of the bar actually, so we can leave a gap of 1 and then place 1, 2, 3 strip spruce like this, and then gap of 1 from the opposite side, 1, 2, 3 like this, and then dark oak stair along the insides of our strip spruce with dark oak fence in between. We can then slap some spruce slab on top of the stripped spruce, then brown carpet on top of the dark oak fence, just like this. Now, in front of this area, we will leave a gap of 1 and then place a brown glazed terracotta with an oak leaf on top. We will then leave another gap of 1 and place a lectern here. And then on this opposite side, we will curve around a set of dark oak stairs, just like this. And then we are going to start making some of the other booths. So we will come all the way over here to this back corner of the build on the left side, and we will place 1, 2, 3 strip spruce with dark oak stairs in front, dark oak fence in front of that, dark oak stairs on the opposite side, strip spruce wood, and then we will kind of repeat this. So dark oak stairs, fence, stairs, strip spruce, just like this. We'll stick spruce slabs on top of the stripped spruce, and then brown carpet on top of the fence, just like this. And we want the same on the opposite side actually. So 1, 2, 3, just like this. And then it's the same combination. It's stairs, fence, stairs again, strip spruce, stairs, fence, stairs, strip spruce, and then spruce slabs on top of the strip spruce, and then brown carpet on top of the fence, just like so. Perfect. What we also want to do is just add some dark oak shelf, just like along the base of the walls, along the back, just like this. And I think that it would also look good to do it on the front as well. I think I'd like to remove that row. So I'm going to just remove that and replace all of the necessary blocks like that. I just think that that looks a little bit cleaner. And then when it comes to this area here, I'm thinking that we can add like an additional stair here, and then we can add a dark oak sign either side, just like this. And then I was thinking maybe like just a scaffolding or something just right in the middle. I think that that looks pretty nice. Although an issue with that is that I would actually like to refloor this little area here with some brown concrete powder. So if I was to keep that scaffolding, it would quickly get destroyed. So I'm just going to kind of like chop out this area just around this part, stick the brown concrete powder in there, and then we can just replace the scaffolding. And we can stick anything on the scaffolding. I think I might actually stick a flower pot, and I think that I might actually add a book and quill to the actual lectern as well. I think that that's looking pretty good. We're starting to add a bit more detail here. Now, all the way over here on this side, we want to have a table. It's a little bit different than the others. We leave a gap of 2 from the center of this window, so 1, 2, and we place a 2x2 square of dark oak fence in this position. We stick brown carpet on top, And then there is a way to place stairs around the table like this so that they kind of remain 2 blocks away from each other, which is important because I want to add dark oak signs to these stairs. And without like pulling the chairs out like an additional row, so let's say like pulling that out there or something, which is perfectly fine, but I just don't like how that looks. That's the only way that we can have these stairs around the table and also have these signs as well. And we also want to add some more chairs. We're going to have some single tables kind of like along this row here. We're going to have a dark oak stair in this position, and then dark oak fence here. Then a stair on the opposite side, and we can stick a brown carpet on top. Then we'll leave a gap of 1, and then dark oak stair, fence, brown carpet, stair just like this. And then do we want to add another? I'm not certain. I'm not even... I don't know whether to add signs to the sides of these stairs, because we can, and it would change things up a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. All the way over here in this corner, we definitely want to add another table. I am thinking that we just place like a single, like a dark oak fence, or maybe we could just have like right in the middle again. We can have like a 2x2 square of fence just like this, and then brown carpet on top. And then maybe this time we can be a little bit more crazy with the chairs. Maybe they've kind of like been spread out a little bit, like people haven't put them back. They've not been slid back under the table. Honestly, it's actually, I don't know if I like the look of it. I prefer a more uniform look to like this, but I guess this is a bit more realistic, especially if there are actually patrons in here as well. So something that I do want to do as well is, before I forget, I want to add a note block into this wall right here. And I'm considering doing the same over here too. I think that would look pretty good. There's a bunch of opportunities. Also, I want to add kind of like a payment, I don't know what to call it, like a payment stand like here. I'm thinking like black concrete, polished black stone stair, and then maybe like just an iron trapdoor next to it, and like an item frame here. And this brings us on to the next part. I want to add some paintings like in front of, like, say there, this till area here, and then there's just a bunch of places that we can have them. Like you can kind of just litter the walls with them, to be honest, because after doing some research into like Outback Steakhouse, like there's loads of stuff on the wall, and I do mean stuff. Like it's not necessarily just paintings, but there's not really any other way that I can kind of like emulate it. But I don't want to use the same painting over again, but it's okay. And maybe like above here as well, like above this door, maybe we can have like a 2x1 with, wow, that painting is popular. Oh wow, that was crazy. That was like 4 times in a row. That's kind of insane, actually. Okay, that's not looking too bad, is it? That's looking pretty good. It's looking a bit more nice, a bit more colourful in here. I am considering adding signs above here, so like this would be like bathrooms, or bathroom, or toilets, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but that's labelling for the toilets, and this is going to label the kitchen. But you can write it however you would like. I think that the next thing that we have to do is start adding some of the TVs, and we can start adding the lights as well. So there are TVs hanging from the ceiling, and I'll show you how to position these. So I think that we will do it here. Right, so, and I've also done it ever so slightly wrong. So once I've got the position right, I'll show you. Right. We want to hang 2 chains with iron bars underneath them, lining up with the toilet door, and we will also do the kitchen door. And we simultaneously also want to then line up with this booth here, the first 2 rows of the booth. So the door, 2 rows of the booth, that's how we do it. And then we just have to grab some paintings and some 2x2 paintings on here. So we basically just want a couple of rather large TV screens. And we'll do this on the opposite side as well. So we line up with this door and then the edge of this booth. I think, yep, perfect. So door, booth, iron bars, or rather chains, and then iron bars underneath, and then 2x2 paintings. Wow, we're getting so many repeats, it's actually crazy. And that's looking pretty good. And then lastly, we just have to add some lights. So there is a light dangling down from the ceiling above the centers of the booths on the side, and also it's not really the center, but it's in this position. We want to have a chain dangling down here, just above this corner of the table, and it's one chain from the ceiling, lantern underneath, and then we surround said lantern with dark oak signs, and that's how we make the lights. So we have lights in the same positions on both the left and right side, and then we will also add some lanterns across the bar as well. So that's the left side, and then I think it's just easiest just to place the chain extending up from the table. It's kind of like foolproof that way, and then you can just add the lanterns underneath. And then the signs around the lanterns. That is perfect. And now that we have done that, we are just going to, of course, add the lights. We'll probably line up with that first row over there, and we'll stick a chain. Right, so one in the middle, of course. And then we'll just leave a gap of 2. So 1, 2 here, and then 1, 2 here. Just like this. So they're rather condensed. And we can just place the chains, lanterns underneath. And then dark oak signs surrounding the lanterns. I think that might be the front part of the build complete, which means that we can now dramatically head into the back of the build and begin work on the bathroom. First of all, we have to make a hallway. So to begin, we are going to place a spruce plank here. We will remove this block, place a block of iron there instead, dark oak wood door here, and then we will just place a row of 3 spruce planks extending backwards. We then want to remove 3 rows of grass right of this wall. So 1, 2, 3. And we will just remove all of this and replace it with oak planks. We will also replace underneath this door as well, whilst we can. And then we are going to have another bathroom. We will place a spruce plank here, remove this block of iron, and then we can add spruce planks to form the rest of the wall. We will then leave a gap of, or better yet, we will remove 1, 2, 3 rows of grass to the right here, and we will replace all of these blocks with a block of iron, and then we will construct a spruce plank wall directly to the right, just like this. And whilst we are in a flooring mood, why don't we remove all of this grass in here and replace it with block of iron? And we could actually do the same thing for the kitchen area too. So yeah, why not? Why don't we have some iron for the kitchen? It's either that or we use like smooth stone. So I'll show you guys. Smooth stone might be preferable. And by the way, we are knocking into this small room here. So smooth stone may be preferable only because we can kind of blend all of these areas together. So like we can place smooth stone for the floor, just like extending from the outside all the way in. And I don't know, it kind of melds things together a little bit nicer, maybe. Iron also works really nicely for a kitchen floor too. Like there's not really like a right answer per se, but let's replace underneath all of the doors whilst we're here. We'll just have to grab that. I'm pretty sure there's another door as well, yep. So, shall we use an oak door for this as well, or shall we use a dark oak door? Originally we used dark oak. It does just go with the colour scheme a little bit better, but I think we'll stick with the smooth stone for now, and then we'll tackle the kitchen later. So, the next thing is for us just to make these walls, which just means, of course, extending the spruce all the way up. And, oh, where's our door? So here, yep. And here we go. Perfect. So this hallway is, of course, where we get to the toilets. So you can have, like, you know, whatever, like male and female, or however you want to label them. It doesn't really matter. As long as there's two sets of toilets, then everything's all good. In the corner here, we're going to stick a brown glazed terracotta and an oak leaf, and probably do the same here as well. Stick a scaffolding here, and here is a candidate for either a window or a painting. I am partial to a painting, but we could have a window. I like that. We could even have like a little waiting bench as well for the toilets. But something that I did consider as well is reducing the ceiling height. So maybe we'd actually just use the dark oak for this. But I was thinking about reducing the ceiling height to maybe say here, for example. Is that a bit too low, or do we go one row higher? So here. So just so it isn't quite so vast. You know, like it just seemed a little bit too tall in here. I think that that's a little bit better. But regardless, now we are just going to head into either one of the toilets. It doesn't matter which one you pick first. And against the short side of the bathroom, we will place 1, 2 light grey concrete with a flower pot here, stone button on the wall above, smooth quartz stair here. We will then place item frame here, lever here, pointed down, and then we will place some candles here, 1 or 2. We have to make a mirror banner, which is made by throwing down a loom, light blue banner in there, white dye. This is the same. I've made this banner so many times. You apply the bend pattern, gradient pattern, any gradient, any bend, and then you can choose the color of the border. I always go for black dye, and the ball draw pattern. And you can stick that there, and you'd be surprised at how many different ways that we can use that banner. But now that I'm in here as well, and by the way, since we have all of these materials out, right, let's just hop into the opposite bathroom, right, and let's just apply the same thing. So here on the short side, let's do the 2 light grey concrete, flower pot, stone button above, smooth quartz stair here, item frame, flip down lever, mirror above it, couple of candles here, and isn't that lovely? So in here we will have 2 toilets, cauldron here and here, oak trapdoors either flipped up or flipped down for the toilets, couple of stripped spruce woods to separate the 2, and then spruce doors, just like that, nice and simple. I think we may also shrink, so this is more applicable to the other bathroom. Let's head over to the other bathroom and I'll show you what I keep putting off talking about. But first of all, toilet, trapdoor, strip spruce wood, spruce door. Right. In this room, we have the note block that is visible and wants to be visible in the actual main part of the restaurant. Do we place dark oak slabs so that we do not see that in the bathroom, like that? Or do we just not care? And do we have like a nice high ceiling? Or do we just accept the fact that there is indeed a note block in here, and we kind of just build around it? Maybe like this. What do you guys think? I think that this is kind of okay. So, whatever you do decide to choose, I mean, you can leave them tall as well. Like, there's no reason that you can't leave them tall. I just feel as though that they're just a little bit too high for the bathrooms. But you could also even include like a light as well, kind of like right in the middle of the ceiling. And you could even, if you are willing to restructure the slabs, like you could recess the light. Either recess it or whatever the opposite of a recess is. Excess it? I don't know, like this. You can either have it like this, which I think is pretty cool, or to recess it would be to, well, it'd be to like drop this down, like so. Like, you've got a couple of, that's probably not my favorite. Maybe just something simple like this might actually be the way, or to have it like this. Hard to place this, but something like that would also be fine. You could even shove the other blocks just half a row. I think that's probably like either that, or just straight up, you know, this. Either one. I think I might keep both options, but those are the bathrooms anyway, so we can now actually head all the way over to the opposite side of the build. We can head into the kitchen and begin work here. First of all, for the kitchen, we are going to try and cover up as much of the red terracotta as possible. So this back wall here, we have to find a solution for this. I think, so we've got to keep this, right? So I'm thinking maybe we just apply a bit of like a false wall here. I think that maybe this is the way to go. So like here, for instance, and then just literally just cover that up. So we can apply that there. I think that that is pretty good. Do we need this? Do we need... So we can do that. We can have 1, 2, 3 rows. And then maybe we can actually... So in line with where the red terracotta starts, we can start applying polished tuff to make a ceiling in here, like this. And this helps to circumvent the problem a little bit. There we go. And then we will just replace this red terracotta with spruce. We'll add a row coming in on the left and right, just like that. I think that that's good. And then we'll have some polished tuff here for the... Well, actually, it doesn't matter really, does it? Because we can just have some spruce planks. And then these two rooms can be a little bit separate. So now that we've cleaned this area up a little bit, over here in the corner, we will place 2 blocks of iron on top of each other with stone buttons in front. Then polished andesite here, furnace here, then a... I guess we can use a polished andesite stair. Then to the left, a polished andesite, stick a couple of blast furnaces in this position. And then we also want to make a kitchen island. We leave a gap of 1 from here to here. And then we will place 2 rows of 3 polished andesite like this. And we'll stick a brewing stand in this position. And we can stick, say, like a flower pot here, a couple of item frames here, steak here, horn coral fan here. We can even add like an item frame on here. We can have a steak, or you could use the raw version too. We can have a couple of pale oak shelves on the wall with different kitchen implements in there. However you want to stack them, it really doesn't matter how you do it. And then over here, we will place a couple of scaffolding in this corner and a chest to the right. And then along this wall, I think that we'll have... We might even have like another fridge slash freezer with some stone buttons. Or maybe we could even have like some bookshelves or something. Just kind of like, you know... It just looks like some form of place to keep an ingredient, and like maybe a light grey concrete with an iron trapdoor on top of it and a button. So maybe we've just got like a little freezer, something like that. I think would look pretty nice. We can add some doors here to keep things separate. I guess that we'd have the doors going into this way. It doesn't really matter whether they're this way or that way. In this room, we'll have just another freezer for some storage, or rather we'll have a fridge. We'll have a double freezer here. In this corner, we'll have just like a chest, maybe even like another scaffolding or a couple of scaffolding again, and then maybe like a chest. If it's not too cluttered, although it is meant to be a bit cluttered. And then on this wall, this is going to be hard to place. It might be easier to have some blocks to place these onto, but basically, we want to have flipped up spruce trapdoors like this. Do we want 3 of these? I think we do. On this side, and then this side, like this. Remove these trapdoors here and here, and then we just need something to stock with these with, really. So like a couple of item frames. So we want the trapdoors there so that we can stick some like candles and stuff in here. And then what would be on here? Maybe like a potato, some carrots. You could even implement this in the kitchen as well. Like we could have maybe we could even like just use something like a pumpkin or something. So like a pumpkin here, and then I always like to see kitchens like a little bit busier. So maybe like a pumpkin and a rail or something like that. I think that this is sufficiently detailed, and ladies and gentlemen, once you've done that, with those final details added, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially completed the main part of this tutorial. However, my recommendation is that we liven up the outside of the building with some vehicles. Number 1 is this bicycle. We can place 1 or 2 of these at the rear of the building against the pre-existing iron bars. Next, we have a car. Suggestion number 1 is we can of course add them to the car parking spaces that we have at the front of the build. You don't have to overdo this, literally just 1 or 2 will do. But we can also add them to the rear car park as well. Lastly, we have this box truck, which fits rather nicely at the back of the build here. As a matter of fact, I made sure that I had enough room for this when I was designing and building Outback Steakhouse. I wanted to include one of these in the build just because I think that it really does just go nicely. I will leave a link to the video in the description that will show you how to make each one of these 3 builds. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially completed this tutorial. However, this video is not over. We must now add Outback Steakhouse into our city. Now, I know that this isn't going to be particularly exciting, ladies and gentlemen, but we are once again going to head over into the new, modern section of our city. And we are going to place Outback Steakhouse next to Dave's Hot Chicken. And the reason for this is because we need to build a little bit more infrastructure before we can give this build a real home. So, for now, you may be interested in becoming a channel member. You can click the join button that will be somewhere on the screen right now. This does cost money and is a monthly subscription, but you do get some perks. The first of which is a download link for my city design world. This has every single build that I have placed in my city, arranged in order, and labelled. This perk also comes with schematics for the mods Lightmatica and World Edit, so you can easily reference and copy and paste these builds into your worlds in any way that you'd like. However, if you're not interested in any of that building business, the highest tier allows you to download the most current version of Mini-City. There are also some minor perks, including loyalty badges displayed next to your name whenever you comment something down below on my videos. Depending on how long you have been a channel member, you gain a more prestigious helmet, with the highly coveted gold builder's hat being the most valuable. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.